All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Intuition Health Show. Glad to see you guys here. Tessa, what's up? Sherry, good to see you. Yes, Sherry, my guest today was late because I am the guest. So we're doing a call-in show. Hey, Janet, good to see you too. Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, we're gonna do a call-in show. Hopefully we can get it to work today, and we'll get some guests on the show here live. I think we should have it pretty much down, but I guess we'll see. I always think that, and something usually comes up. But crossing our fingers today that we'll get it right, and we'll have a good show. So good to see everybody again. Thanks everybody for always being here and for participating in the chat and asking questions and all these things. So yeah, if you have any questions today, throw them in the chat, or I'm gonna put a link to the guest room where you guys, if you want, you can join on video with me here and ask your questions. So definitely consider that if you want, but if you only want to put it in the chat, that's totally fine too. All right, so little exciting announcement for you guys before we get started with the Q&A. So now there's Raw Intuition merchandise that you guys can pick up if you're interested. It's mostly organic cotton clothing, so you can get some beanie hats, you can get trucker hats, just regular hats. There's sweatshirts and thank you, Sherry's mom. Appreciate that. Sherry's mom is the adorable one. That's the truth. Yeah, there are trucker hats. There's sweatshirts. There's some other stuff too. Some other really good stuff. So definitely check the link in the description box of this video if you are interested in picking up your Raw Intuition Health Show sweatshirt. Or anything like that. I think I'm waiting for mine too. I'm ordering it today actually, because I have to update one of the items on the in the shop so that I can get it the way that I want it. And then yeah, I'm gonna have a sweatshirt and a hat, both regular like a baseball cap, and then also a winter stocking cap. So excited for that. I hope you guys will check it out. It's a great way to support the show if you're interested in doing that. So pick up that, or you can always go to my website. I got ebooks in my shop, or you can go to Amazon and get the paperbacks of any of my books. Got 3 books currently on Amazon, if you're not aware. I've got 5-Star Salad Revolution, 5-Star Digestion, and 21-Day Raw Transformation Program. I'm a little biased, but I think they're some of the best books out there if you're wanting to learn how to do a holistic, healthy, raw vegan diet or high raw vegan diet in the best way to get the best results. So definitely check out anything that you're interested in through the links in the description box down below. All right, got all the housekeeping out of the way. Oh, but also be sure to hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video around, leave a comment, all that good stuff. All right, so any questions right now? We've got a little bit of action going on in the chat here, but if anybody has a question, just throw it in. Sherry says, now she's running out of my office to go buy some Raw Intuition merch. All right, see? That's all it took, was just to make Sherry's mom aware, and now she's gonna go and get her own merch. All right, that's awesome. Thank you, Janet. Janet says, great books, Matt. I have them all. I appreciate that. I've got another one coming here in the next several months that'll hopefully be done by then. But I'm really excited to get this next one published. I think it's going to be one of my best ones. So yeah, looking forward to that. It's definitely been a challenge to write. I don't have as much time these days, but I am fitting it in where I can, and it's going pretty well. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. Sherry says, can you talk about your latest book yet, or is it a secret? So I could, I mean, not really. I don't like to go over what I'm writing about until I've actually gotten it into the structure that I want it. But essentially, the main idea of the book is how to achieve your optimal body weight. So whether that's gaining weight or losing weight, it's mostly focused on losing weight because most people are looking for that sort of information. And so the book is talking a lot about how, a whole food plant-based diet can support your weight loss goals or just really just help your body to achieve its optimal weight, right? So um, I know there's many books out there kind of on that topic, but I think the way that I'm presenting it and my approach and the program that I'm putting together for that is going to help a lot of people, and it's going to really educate people on a lot of the myths that are out there about weight loss and different diets that impact how you gain or lose weight, and outside of diet, even lifestyle factors that play a part in weight management and things like that, and really just overall health. And so yeah, it's going to be there's a lot of good stuff in there that I haven't seen a lot of other people talk about too much. So yeah, I think it'll be good, and I think it'll help a lot of people. So I'm excited. Any other questions? Thanks for the question, Sherry. Appreciate that. Annie, what's up? Happy Sunday to you as well. All right, guys. 1 second. My cat wants to exit the room, so give me just 2 seconds. I'll be right back. And we're back. All right, the cat always wants something once the camera starts rolling. All right, any other questions out there? I know I had notes of just some topics that I could kind of go over. All right, Sherry coming in clutch with the questions here. Do you think the low-fat raw vegan diet is sustainable with very little chia, tahini, nuts, etc.? Do I think the low-fat raw vegan diet is sustainable? Yes, I do think it's sustainable as long as you know basically how to structure it. I don't think there's anything wrong with including chia, tahini, nuts, and other products similar to that. I think that's something that each person is going to want to kind of figure out for themselves what the best amount of those fattier items would be. But I think in general, so personally, just from personal experience and from helping other people, as well as the research that I've looked at, it seems like between 10, 20, maybe 25% of calories coming from fat is kind of the sweet spot for getting the best insulin sensitivity and metabolic health and digestion and energy levels and elimination. So definitely fat is not something that we need to eliminate by any means, which is what a lot of people seem to want to do. But I definitely don't need to do that, and I don't think that's a great idea for most people. But not going overboard with it is something that people need to keep an eye on as well. So, and I don't think that you have to really track the percentages long term. You might want to try it. Use Chronometer at first, get an idea of what your diet is made up of, and then make adjustments. And the longer you go, kind of tracking that a little bit, you don't have to track it after that. Like, you just get the idea. It just becomes natural. And pay attention to how your body feels. I think what makes something sustainable is how easy it is for you to do, how enjoyable it is, and the health consequences that eating that way results in. So as long as you make it easy for yourself, it's not something that you have to white knuckle through, because nobody's going to sustain that. You also want to make it delicious because nobody wants to eat, a diet full of things they don't enjoy because that's not sustainable. And you want whatever way that you do choose to eat to result in good health long term. Because if you're eating a certain way and it results in chronic disease or just, you're getting sick all the time, or, you have low energy, you don't sleep well, you're constipated, all these different things. If that's how you feel from eating a certain way, then clearly that's not going to be sustainable. So, although, there are people that do stick on diets that do result in those things for quite a long time, but they just use, drugs to get them through it. So, if you want to do it in a way without, as much as possible without those drugs and other things, find a way that meets those three things. It's enjoyable, it's easy, and it supplies your body with the things that it needs to function optimally. So yeah, I would say yes, it is sustainable, but do it in an intelligent way, which I think 21 Day Raw Transformation Program gives you a pretty intelligent way to do that. But my new book is gonna probably help people more with that sort of a question as well, and really show the benefits of eating a higher carbohydrate, lower fat diet, and making it a way, eating it, approaching your diet that in a way that leads to sustainable health with an optimal body weight. So hope that helps. Thanks for the question. Tessa says that's my diet. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Awesome, Tessa. Great job. Great job. Judith says, if you were to eat one meal a day, what would you drink before and after the meal? Well, I wouldn't necessarily want to drink after the meal, because that would potentially disrupt the digestion of that meal. I don't do well when I drink immediately after a meal. So I think it's best if you're gonna consume, hopefully it's water or maybe some sort of a vegetable juice or something like that. Then I would do it, 30 or 45 minutes before the meal. Could be 15 minutes, doesn't have to be crazy. But consume your liquids before the meal and then have your meal. And then I probably wouldn't drink within the next, hour or two of eating that meal, at least, to give your body the best chance to really get those digestive fluids mixed in with the food that you just ate. And I wouldn't recommend one meal a day either. I don't think that's sustainable. I know some people out there claim that they do that, but to me, it's not a good way to go. It causes people to overeat at one time, which I don't think is good. If you overeat at any certain time, that's going to impact your digestion. That's going to impact your elimination. So you don't want to stuff yourself just so that you're fitting in enough calories in a day. So design your diet in a way where, I'm a fan of intermittent fasting in a way that's more natural. You don't have to really think about it too much, but like for me, I don't really get hungry until 11 o'clock. And so that's usually when I have my first meal, which is a smoothie, which I'm actually having right now. So it's kind of a mukbang today, mukbang Q&A again. Don't normally eat. I usually wait until after the show to eat because I just think that's, that works best. But every once in a while, I will have a smoothie, or I think I had watermelon the last time during the show. But yeah, I would encourage people not to do one meal a day. I see a lot of people try that for a little while, and those are usually the people that end up, doing some other crazy diet after that. So, yeah, I don't think it's really that natural to eat one meal a day. So yeah, if you can fit, have a decent eating window in your day. Don't be eating from the time you wake up till when you go to bed, because that I don't think is good. But you know, just make it make it a reasonable eating window. So for me, it's like 11 to 6 or 7. So it's like a 7 or 8 hour eating window. But you know, that's what works best for me. And again, like there's no cookie cutter way of approaching that. You got to kind of figure out what works best for you, but try different approaches, right? So maybe you could try waiting until 10 or 11 to eat your first meal and then try and be done by 6 or 7 with dinner, and see how you feel doing that for a little bit. Or I know, there is research out there. I think Dr. Greger talks a lot about it, is, you know, earlier, the further up in the day you can eat, the better. So I think he recommends eating like right away in the morning. And I know there's some other plant-based doctors that recommend that. You could do that. I'm just not hungry that early, so I'm not going to force myself to eat if I'm not hungry. I think hunger, as Chef AJ says, hunger is the best sauce. I think when we're hungry, we have the best digestive capabilities. Our digestive enzymes and fluids are going to be at the appropriate levels that they should be when we're getting hungry, so that we start producing some of those, letting our body produce those hormones that are designed to regulate hunger and satiety, and kind of that circadian rhythm when it comes to hunger. So yeah, I don't know, I'm getting kind of rambling again, but yeah, just test that out, I would say, and see how that feels. But I wouldn't drink immediately after meals, and I wouldn't eat one meal a day, personally. But hey, if it works for you, if you try it, then who am I to say to not do that? Let's see. Thanks for all the questions here. We got a good list going. Annie says, I feel better eating lower fat. Yeah, me too. Me too. Sherry says, Tessa, how much percent of fat is in your diet, and how long have you done it that way? Annie, same question to you. Yeah, hey, if anybody wants to jump on, oh, I forgot to put the link in. All right, let me put the link. Here we go, in the chat. If anybody wants to join, feel free. And I will do my best to make the technology work. No promises, but yeah, that's there in case anybody wants it. All right, let's see here. So yeah, I'll let you guys discuss this with each other, and if you want to come on, you sure can. Let's see here. Annie says you can't get enough vitamins and nutrients in one meal a day. Yeah, I would agree with that. For the most part, I don't think most people are going to be able to get in everything they need in just one meal. And what happens when they try to do that is they overeat in that meal, and that's not good either. The body isn't really designed anyways to absorb. There's a capacity of digestion and assimilation that can happen at one time. So, just putting everything in at one time, I don't think is the best way to nourish your body. So yeah, I would agree. Judith says, I messed up my OMAD question. I meant, what would you drink throughout the day? Oh, water. Tessa got it. Yes, water would be my preferred thing to drink. I mean, really, if you're eating one meal a day, that's really the only thing you can drink if you want to truly adhere to that OMAD philosophy, right? Because if you're eating, I mean, unless you're just considering it one solid meal a day, but if you're drinking juice, that's a meal. So if you're having one solid meal plus juices throughout the day, essentially you're just eating meals throughout the day. It just one is solid, one is or multiple are liquid. So anytime you're bringing in, you know, calories and nutrients, you're consuming food, right? So OMAD, in my mind, would be water is the only thing that you're drinking, and then you're having one meal of nutrition in that day. So just my perspective on that. Let's see here. Annie says it can really mess up your digestion. Yeah, I have seen that as well. People tend not to do well with their digestion when they're just consuming one meal a day. And again, I know there's people out there that say they do it and that they love it. So if it works for you, then that's great. Let's see. Essa says she craves cucumbers, tomatoes, and apples. Those are good cravings to have. Those are good cravings. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I think most people would prefer that than the cravings that they do have, which is for ultra processed junk foods that really don't do well for people over the long term. And he says, I am hungrier in the morning and stop eating by 3 p.m. or so. I think that's great. I think the sooner you can finish eating in the afternoon, the better. I wish I could be done by 3, but it just doesn't work out that way for me typically. Maybe some point in my life I'll be able to get to that, but at this point, pretty much 11 to 6 or 7 is kind of where I have found my sweet spot, and it works really well. It's convenient. It's easy for me to do. It feels natural, and it's I think it's given me everything that I need. So again, everybody's gonna have to find their optimal eating window, and the way that they structure their diets, their meals, all that. And whether it's all raw or high raw or whatever percentage of raw, everybody's going to have a little bit of variation in that. So don't think that anything that I do is what you have to do. But I just, I share what I do and what works for me and the people that I've helped to give you just some ideas on what might work for you. You can test it out and see how it feels and go from there. So that's the whole point of the show, is to present these ideas that I have found useful and people that I admire and have learned from, bring them on the show and have them share as well. So just to give you guys more tools to be as healthy as you can. All right, let's see here. Sherry, addressing Tessa again. Great. Thank you guys for your great conversation. Sherry says, I hope one of you will hop on with Matt. I'm still in my jammies, so I can't do it. Hey, there's no restriction to jammies, right? We accept all clothing types. So you're more than welcome, Sherry, to pop on in your jammies and, have a discussion. Annie says, my digestion slows way down later. Yeah, and there's research out there also showing that our digestive capacity is the strongest right around midday, and as it goes into the afternoon and evening, our digestive capacity does decline. So it really just shows that we are not meant to eat right up until bedtime. And I think most people that experiment with that and stopping eating, 3-4 hours before they go to bed, they experience much better sleep, much better energy the next day, much better digestion and elimination, and just overall better health outcomes. So yeah, makes sense, Annie. Tessa says we should totally plan a Raw Intuition PJ party. All right, Tessa, I like the way you think. We can definitely do that. We'll set it up. I'm writing it down in my notes here. Raw intuition PJ party. We're gonna make it happen. All right, but then if that's true, or if that happens, then we got to get more people that are joining the chat, joining in on doing the call in, so that we can we can vote on who has the best PJs. I think that, and then somebody wins a prize. There you go. All right, we'll work out the details, but go out and buy your favorite PJs that you think might win the prize, and we'll see you at the party. Judith says, Annie, that is great. How many meals do you eat each day? Annie says, Judy, I eat 2 to 3 meals a day, depending on how large the meal is. Yeah, me and Annie are right on the same page. I'm the same way. 2 to 3 meals works for me. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. But, it's typically within that eating window, and I just kind of make it work however I need to within that time frame. So, Extropian Transhuman, what's up? Thanks for joining. Great to see ya. Oh, parents are around. Okay, that's all right. Well, we'll have more call-in shows. No worries. And hey, if your parents want to join in too, they're more than welcome. People are in their PJs. People got their parents around. Yeah, everybody is welcome here. All right, everybody's welcome. I'm more than happy to entertain and answer questions from anybody, regardless of what they're wearing or who they're around. So, welcome everybody. Glad to have you here. Perfect. Okay. Yep. That's perfect. Just typing is great as well. All right. Maria says, I've introduced some cooked foods after being raw for 8 months, but don't feel great. Okay. Any advice on type of food or combination? All right. I have experience with this. I also did, it depends. So this is the thing. Whenever I see that, somebody has been raw and then they start incorporating cooked, they do, it's pretty common that they don't feel the greatest afterwards. And I had that experience as well here and there. But what I found after trial and error is that you basically have to, at least for me and many people that I've worked with, if you're going to eat cooked food, eat it with a big raw salad. And that is going to take care of a lot of the issues, because that's going to provide you with enzymes. It's going to provide you with more fiber and hydration and different phytochemicals that are going to help with the digestion of that, as well as with the elimination. So a big problem is when people eat cooked food, they're consuming a large amount of cooked, water deficient, not intact raw fiber. And so that slows the digestion. It causes more issues with dehydration, and you don't eliminate it as well. So that can be one of the main reasons why people don't feel well. And really, it also just depends on what type of cooked food you're eating. So if you're eating like cooked, or if you're eating like fried or baked, or some other really dehydrated type of cooked food, that makes it even worse. But if you cook with wet heat, I call it conscious cooking, that is going to make a big difference as well, because that's keeping some of the hydration in that cooked food, and it creates fewer advanced glycation end products or acrylamides or other byproducts of the cooking process. So eat it with a big salad. Stick to whole foods as much as possible. So whether it's lentils, so these are the things that I consume myself with my salad. It's either lentils, sometimes beans, wild rice, potatoes here and there. Less potatoes lately, but I do consume potatoes here and there. And then let's see. I mean, that's most of it. Like I'll put organic frozen corn in with it, quinoa sometimes. That's pretty much it in general, right? So I use those cooked ingredients, put them in the instant pot. If I didn't have the instant pot, I would eat much less cooked food. And still, the portion of cooked food that I do eat is small, compared to all the other raw food in my diet. All right, and so as long as you keep it to a portion that it doesn't overwhelm the meal, I have had 99% of my meals over the last 14 years almost have been um, with a big salad, but there have been times where my life is a little busy right now, and so um, I've run out of greens, and so which is a big no. I try and teach people not to do that, but I have run out of greens a few times, and so I have gone meals where all I had in the house was like lentils and wild rice and quinoa and things, and so I just had a bowl of that. It does not go well for me. Like, it's not awful. It's not like I just ate some McDonald's or something, but it's like I can feel it in my digestion, especially like over the night. Like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like not feeling the greatest, or I wake up and I have like I can tell that I just the digestion wasn't optimal. So it's just reinforcement to me that the way that I do, 99% of the time I do consume cooked food, if I do consume it, is the best way. With the salad, with wet heat, with you know all that sort of stuff. So, we do have a guest here, extropian transhuman. All right, let's see here. Oh, now there's no video. That's okay, but it's less fun. So, but we can see if it works, because really that's the big thing right now, is seeing if I can actually get this to work. So let's see here. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. You can still hear me? Okay, perfect. Yeah, let me see if I can actually bring you into the show now and see if the audio continues to work for both of us, cuz that's for some reason that's when it goes all crazy. So let's see here. Oh, they did. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. How about now?
Let's test it out. Can everyone hear me? I can't
Yeah.
see the chat because if I did that, then you're on double. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yep, no problem. Yeah, can you guys hear both of us?
Should I say something to see if they could hear me?
Yeah, that works. Yeah, can you Oh, Neil, okay, they're saying yes, they can hear you.
Yay.
All right.
So glad.
Perfect. Yeah, what's going on? How are you?
Good, you?
Good. Yeah,
That's
thanks.
awesome.
Thanks for jumping on.
Anytime. Oh, just like a dream come true. I've been waiting for this. So this is great.
Well, I'm honored. Do you have anything you want to discuss, or?
Yeah, I do. So I learned that barley grass powder has a lot of calcium, but
Mm,
I just wonder why people don't talk more about the barley grass, you know,
yeah.
as being like a high calcium source, They talk like, especially the physicians committee, they'll talk a lot about, like, broccoli, but that's super low, and so then everyone, like, on Reddit, they'll say, "Well, I'm not getting enough calcium," and it's like, you're not looking at the good stuff, yeah.
Right. Yeah, great point. I don't know why they don't talk more about that. Um, do you have a specific one that you use? Like, do you use Daily Green Boost or do you use just any random one? Or
I use the XPRS Nutribrand because I notice it tastes kinda like a sweet version of matcha, minus the caffeine, and it's, like, pretty cheap too, because 1 for 1 ounce of matcha, you'll get 1 pound of barley grass powder. But
okay,
I've tried other brands, and some of them are really bad. So,
yeah,
yeah.
nice, cool. Yeah, well, I mean, I enjoy it. You know, I've been adding to my smoothies for a little bit now, and I think it's a great addition. That I think anytime you can bring in, and it's really, I mean, it's clearly not a whole food, but it's it's not like a process. I wouldn't call it a processed food, so it brings in a good amount of minerals and vitamins. So I think why not add it, right?
Yeah, there's like I was thinking about like how it would be grown, like it wouldn't be that hard to grow because you can kind of grow it in a tray, kind of like wheatgrass,
Yep.
and then do like barley grass shots. It's like there's certain foods that got popularized, and it's like I kind of wish other foods got popularized. Like instead, why was matcha popularized when like barley grass is superior, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Marketing, probably, probably whoever has the most money to promote it. I guess I don't know, but I see we got Dr. Benjamin Alter in the chat here. What's up, Dr. Ben? He actually him and his wife have a company called Viz Foods, who actually just came out with a green powder that I think everybody should check out. You can find it on his Instagram through the links in his Instagram bio. So definitely check that out. I still need to give it a try, but it looked great. It has barley grass powder. I'm gonna have to have him on the show to share with you guys more about it because it looks like a great product, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out. So yeah,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
I think I did have some other stuff. So,
yeah.
like, how do you navigate avoiding like neurotoxins on a raw diet? Because there are certain foods that just really bother like my nervous system, like
Mm,
garlic and onions, and then soy and well, gluten you kind of avoid on raw, but I know some
hmm.
people will sprout it and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, how do you navigate all that?
That's a great question. Because neurotoxins are unfortunately, such a large part of our environment these days from industry and things. So, I I'm not I wasn't aware actually that garlic and onions could have neurotoxic effects. You might have to explain that a little more to me, but in general, the way that I avoid as many neurotoxins as I can is um, eating organic as much as possible. I know organic isn't perfect, but I think it's the best choice we have at this point, other than getting our food from local like organic farmers that we know or that we trust, that are growing their foods without toxic chemicals. Don't put sprays in your yard. I think that's a big one, and if you can, stay out of yards and in areas that are sprayed. Also, filter your water as much as you can. I think distillation is a great way to go. That's the best way that I'm aware of that takes out any neurotoxic or otherwise contaminants that might be in the water. Um, look at your laundry detergents. Look at the chemicals that you use in your home. For me, the best way to start, anyways, because it's there's so many areas that you could look at, but the things that you're exposed to the most, like on a daily basis, like your food, your water, your clothing, the air quality in your house. That would be where I would start. But I mean, you could get pretty obsessed with, um, looking at all these sources, and it could be pretty overwhelming. So that's usually where I start is with those things, like controlling the things we can control. Obviously, we can't control the very unnatural looking cloud like things that spew out of the airplanes that are
Like the
likely.
contrails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
contrail lookalikes. But yeah, they last in the sky for hours, and yeah, that sort of thing. So there's definitely neurotoxins, I think, in that. But yeah, just controlling the things you can control in your immediate environment, and that's where I'd start. Do you have any follow up questions on any of that?
Um, well, it's like with garlic, it has neuroprotective effects, but it also has like the neuro alongside the neurotoxic effects. That's what makes it kind of tricky to understand.
Sure.
Um, because it says it has sulfone, and that's what makes it toxic. Because if you look at like pets, they tend to not be able to consume garlic.
Right.
But
Right.
then it also has the neuroprotective effects too.
Yeah.
From well, it's a long uh chemical name, so I'll just say caspase.
Okay.
That one, yeah, it protects neurons. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, it's like how do you balance, the
Yeah.
pros and cons of each of these?
Right. And as far I think my understanding, anyways, is that the reason like dogs or other animals can't have garlic is because they don't have the right enzymes to break them down, and we potentially do. I'm not 100% on that, but that's my understanding. The other thing that I was gonna say, or that I should have mentioned, is that like in my understanding as well, is that the best way we can balance it outside of what I already said is, eating a whole food plant-based diet, because you get those phytochemicals, you get the pigments, you get the enzymes, and you get these things, the fiber that build up your gut bacteria, which are a big part of our detoxification system in the body. That people say, or a lot of people think that it's just like the liver that detoxifies the body or detoxifies chemicals in the body, when really all cells have the ability to activate phase 2 enzymes and things like this. So as long as we're getting the pigments that activate transcription factors like NF kappa, or like not NF kappa B. That's, you want to suppress NF kappa B, but you want to upregulate like FGF21, and there's some other ones I can't. They're not coming to my mind, but AMPK, I guess, would be one. But activating, basically giving your gut microbiome, which is a big link, of course. I know you know this, but it's linked to the immune system. And so the more you can bolster your good gut bacteria and shore up, the tight junctions, and make sure there's no excessive permeability, you know, that's a big way that we, even if we're exposed to neurotoxins or other contaminants from the environment or from our food or water, having supporting the gut microbiome is I think one of the best ways to both prevent the absorption of those toxicants and toxins, as well as if they do get in, it's the best way to help the body to detoxify it and eliminate it. So, you know, just basically eating as whole food, plant based as we can, and avoiding, excessive exposure to a lot of the things that cause issues.
Very cool. I was wondering how come the consumption of flowers isn't really talked about more in terms of, you know, what you eat for raw vegan foods because it's like a major part of, the food selection would be gone if you skip out on that part.
Yeah, any specific flowers that you're thinking of?
No, I'm just saying like they'll say fruit,
Mhm.
vegetables, and then the thing about like nuts and seeds is some of them they'll say that they're raw, but they end up being cooked
Right.
and it's still used, but then it's like why aren't instead of doing that, why not do like flowers? I'm saying in general,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can look into like lavender, roses, just about like anything, but there's so
Yeah.
many.
Yeah, great point. I would guess it's probably. I wonder what they're, because a lot of the things that we do have access to in grocery stores and things they're there because they store well and they ship well. I'm guessing flowers probably don't have a long shelf life, and so there's not much profit in talking about that or promoting it because, who's going to make money on it? So, while you're right, like flowers are very healthy for us, some of them anyways. Um, there's probably just not enough ways for people to make money on them. That's my guess.
Yeah, but like even on your show, you don't have much about like flowers, and I don't see much on other raw vegan
Yeah.
shows either channels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna add that to my list. I'll do a show on flowers. I don't actually know that much about edible flowers because for that same reason, like nobody talks about it, so it's not really anything that I've looked too much into. I have seen, I think it was John Kohler. I think John Kohler adds flowers to his meals because he grows it, So um, yeah, I'll add that to my list of shows to do, and I'll have to do some more research on it. But from what I've heard from like John Kohler, and probably a few other people that are into eating more flowers. That yeah, it's a good way to get in some nutrients that most people aren't getting in, and yeah, so I'll definitely look into it. Thank you.
If you need any research on it or like you need someone to help like be on the show talking about it,
Yeah.
I do know a lot about flowers because that was like one of the first foods I ate a lot of.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll be in touch then. We can definitely do something like that.
Yeah, I could kind of tell you a little bit right now. Like,
Sure.
um, so flowers have a lot of blue in them. So
Mm.
if you don't have flowers, you don't have much blue in your diet selection. Like even blueberries
Right.
are more like purple.
Yep.
But when you come to like flowers, they fill in the color gaps that are not in regular foods. Like flowers have some of the most color of any foods around. They have the blues, the pinks, um, whites, purples, all the ones that you just don't normally see. And
Yeah.
also, I was hearing about how some of the fruit pollen, I mean, sorry, flower pollen has B12 in it.
Okay.
And that's why, like, bee pollen has a high source of B12 from, like, one of your guests. I forgot. One of your guests was talking about on their videos. And so it's like I keep thinking maybe if people like smell the flowers instead of drinking coffee in the morning, maybe they might be breathing in certain nutrients because you can actually like B12 can be uh absorbed through inhalation. So, I have a lot that I could like share with you about it.
Wow.
But
Okay.
that's like a little bit start. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, that's super interesting. I'm sure I love learning more about like pigments and color
Yeah.
frequencies. So yeah, and I wasn't aware that flowers contain a lot of blue. Because yeah, you're right. There's really very few sources of true blue in the diet. So or in what we typically would eat. So cool.
Yeah.
I love
Like
that.
think about like corn flour. That's as blue as you can get. Well, if you look it up, there's
Okay.
another one called Speedwell, and there's like a bird's eye speedwell, and those are truly blue flowers, but there's so
Hmm.
many blue flowers. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's like that way you're getting that part. And I feel like the blue has a certain level of healing that's not seen in other plants because with blueberries,
Hmm.
there's so if you look at the anthocyanins, there are like 6 different types. And some of them are as I think you were talking about this. Some of them are not like blue or purple. They're like red and orange. But it's
Hmm.
the blue and purple ones that have the special anti-inflammatory, healing, anti-aging properties. So it's
Right.
like maybe if we eat more of these blue foods, it'll help. Also, blue, green and blue tend to reflect more infrared,
Mm.
which has also healing of its own. So I feel like if we eat like these green and blue foods, that there would be more like infrared bouncing off from our stomach to the rest of the body because infrared is the wavelength the only wavelength that goes through every single one of our tissues. So
Okay.
there's like a lot of angles. And actually I wanted to see like a biophoton like video from you because you seem to have so much research on it and it's like probably a field of its own
Oh yeah.
to like really look at and I have a lot of info on that as well,
Okay.
that I could probably share with you, and it might fill in all the gaps. Uh, what are your plans? Do you have any plans to make, like, a biophoton video by any chance?
I I I would love to, and I will put that on my list to do. I do, yeah. I've actually, so in the book that I'm writing, I got off on kind of like this long tangent where I literally was just like writing about biophotons for like pages. so so I ended up I'm putting it in the appendix of the book because it kind of gets off from the main thing that I'm trying to talk about in the book. But I didn't want to leave it out because it's so interesting to me. But yeah, it could literally be its own book or video or like series of videos. I don't. It's so hard for me right now to actually like sit down and make actual videos that I have to edit. That's why I pretty much only do the live shows because I don't have to edit them or like do much after the show is done. It just uploads itself. So, but yeah, it's a great suggestion, and I will definitely do that, and I will definitely reach out to you for more of information that you have on this because it is. I think it's not talked about enough, biophotons, and I first learned about it from John Rose, and I didn't look too much into it. Like I just heard him talk about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. But now that I've actually been looking into it, super interesting. And yeah, I would love to know more. I don't consider myself an expert in it, but I have been looking into it quite a bit. So I've learned a little bit about it. So I'm curious to hear all the research you've done too.
Yeah, I would consider you writing your own like making a whole book out of it because I believe that photons are the source of consciousness and
Mm,
they carry like information with them.
yeah.
So when uh the consciousness is just every bit of information known to that point, which is like a particle. And so when the photons hit each other, they exchange information, and it like at that point is sentience. And then that exchange of information makes something more conscious because it's more aware. And our bodies are very large and complex to handle the amount of information that comes from these single photons. Like the food has photons, and that kind of increases our consciousness, which allows us to survive longer. So that's like where I come from with all of the information that I have. And so yeah, I think like hashing it out, like forget leaving it at the end of a book. Like it needs to be the star of the show, you know? Because
Sure.
it's like the basis of our whole life, you know?
Yeah.
Of and the survival of everything. And it's like if we're moving forward in this vegan direction, um it's like allowing more life to grow, and it's like how are we going to better utilize photons to, support the life around us? Like
Yeah.
there's like ethical parts about like photons, like
Yep.
how to utilize photons, because like uh plants are like space food. They get their food from hundreds of millions of miles away from the sun, which I feel is like one of the greatest sources of consciousness, because from that we get that information of how to live and thrive and everything. So it's like the more life that has these photons to interact, it's like the more consciousness gets built up.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I see it. Even the earth emits photons because it's electromagnetic field with the magnetic poles and the magnetic field that supports the life too. So yeah,
Right.
there's so much to like look into for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. Definitely a super interesting topic, and we'll definitely have you on for a show. We'll just do a show and we can talk about that. We do have another guest in the waiting room, so we'll have to
Yeah, no
move.
worries.
But
Uh-huh.
I really appreciate you jumping on, and again, I'll reach out to you here off the show, and we can set something up. But thank you for being on and asking your questions, and always being such a big part of the show.
Anytime. It was great. I really appreciate you letting me be on the show and hang out on the weekend. I can't ask for better.
Well, I
So
appreciate
yeah.
that. Tessa says, "Do you want to share your real name?" She asked what your name
Oh
is.
yeah. Well, it's on my channel. My name's Brittany Bunk. Yeah.
All right, Brittany.
So I have a website. I
Okay,
think it's in the link in the profile. It's my name, like .weebly.com with
nice.
a hyphen in the middle. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, check out Brittany's website, and yeah, we'll have her on again. So thank you, Brittany. I appreciate you being on.
Anytime. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Take care. All right, guys. Let's go to our next guest. Let me get him here. Hold on. I'm gonna have to go back to host view, and we'll bring him in. Need to get his video uploaded here. So that was great. Finally, we got the the program to work. So let's keep it going here. All right, it looks like we've got. Let's see, is it working? Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben,
Hey,
can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Right
Well,
on.
welcome.
Yeah. It's funny. I was scrolling through the chat. I was like, how do you, I saw that you were doing the video calling thing, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I found that link. So I was like, hey, let's try this out.
Yeah. Glad to
And I
have you.
actually, yeah, thank you so much. And thanks for the little shout out. Yeah, when I heard barley grass juice powder, I got really excited. Um, you know, so anyways, I don't want, I'm not here to like have a commercial or anything, but
No,
if
bring
you're
it.
interested in learning more, yeah, it's
Yes.
beefsfoods.co, our new product, and we're still in like a soft launch phase. But I actually do have a question for you, Matt,
Yeah.
because I'm in the midst of a cleanse that we do 4 times a year with our other business, and when I'm cleansing, our cleanse, and I don't eat. I think I don't eat exactly like you. I'm not as high raw. I think
Sure.
you know that.
Mhm.
More potatoes and whole grains and beans and stuff.
Yep.
Whole food, plant based all the way. But anyways, in our cleanse, we do transition to more raw because we know that raw food is like super detoxifying, super hydrating, all the good things. However, I experience and I hear so much feedback from our clients where we guide them into this. People experience different sort of, I won't even call them symptoms, but just like responses to eating more raw food. And I know for
Mhm.
me, One of them that I hear, especially in the wintertime, is feeling cold, eating more raw food.
Yep.
So I'm curious about like what you do to combat that, because I know you also live in a cold climate.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, which I struggle with, is just like feeling like I'm eating enough. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I can eat more when I'm talking about like the potatoes and the cooked food. I feel like there's more calorie density
Sure.
in those foods versus raw foods. So those are my two questions for you, Matt. Like, staying warm and comfortable in the winter time specifically, and also eating enough. And I think to some degree, those questions kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. Great questions, and thank you. Before I answer, do you want to share a little bit more about the Green Force?
I'd be happy to. Let me go grab the jar.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Perfect.
Cool. So, yeah, this is our new product. We're still in like a soft launch
Okay.
with it. Um,
Love it.
but
It's a very
yeah.
clean, nice, very nice looking label.
And for those who are curious about the ingredients, so what inspired me to create this is, like, you guys know that there's tons of products on the market, and some of them, and a lot of them are really good, but even the good ones tend to have just tons of stuff in them.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what we wanted to avoid. We don't like buying the products with tons of stuff, even if it's all good stuff, because generally their formula is going to be watered down in some way.
Sure.
So our formula is right here. If you can read it,
Yep.
I'll list it out to you. It's just 7 things: barley grass juice powder and wheatgrass juice powder. Those are the two. These are listed in order of concentration in the formula. So barley grass juice powder, wheatgrass juice powder, moringa leaf powder, amla powder, nettle leaf powder, broccoli sprout powder,
Wow.
and spirulina. And so the broccoli sprout powder and spirulina, those are they're more potent ingredients, both like kind of nutrient density wise as well as palatability wise. So those are in smaller concentrations, but still, with the broccoli sprout powder, still what we would consider very much a medicinal dose, because there's just 7 ingredients. It's not all watered down. And for those who don't know, broccoli sprout powder is kind of the best source of sulforaphane, which you were talking about, phase 2 enzymes. Sulforaphane is really important for doing the detoxification work in the liver.
Yeah.
So we kind of designed this to be like an actual medicinal health food, not just like, a nutrition product. We
Yeah.
wanted to like people to relate to it as like a medicinal thing. And we think that we achieved that. And the feedback that we've been getting is people are feeling great. And also I was a little concerned because I don't have the most refined palate. I'm not super picky with, I'm like, I'll enjoy anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are people gonna think about the taste? Because we put it in a smoothie and then it kind of like gets diluted, but a lot of people like to enjoy it just in water.
Yep.
And I think it tastes pretty darn good in water. And we've gotten the feedback that it tastes pretty darn good just plain, a scoop in water.
Wow.
So that's the spiel.
Love it. That's awesome. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but even moringa has sulforaphane. Like from what I understand, it's a pretty significant amount. It's not as much as broccoli, but so it's like a double punch there you guys got.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just to highlight some other ingredients,
Yeah.
nettle leaf powder is super mineral rich. And also freeze dried nettle leaf, which is this, helps to balance the immune system. And specifically people who struggle with kind of seasonal allergies, nettle leaf kind of stimulates the immune system in a way that helps to resolve those kind of symptoms.
Oh.
And then amla powder. Most people are familiar with amla powder. It's really not a green. It's a great source of vitamin C and other bioflavonoids. And the vitamin C, kind of acts synergistically with greens. All these foods have vitamin C, right?
Sure.
That's the great thing about like whole foods, is that you're getting everything perfectly designed and contextualized so that you've got the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients that all synergistically work together.
Yep.
But anyways, the vitamin C in the amla, theoretically, based on science, kind of helps the body absorb and utilize some minerals such as iron. That's the classic one, and this is
Right.
really a great source of iron as well, this whole product. So
Yeah. Love it. Wow. So
yeah.
what was the inspiration to create the product?
Well, we've been mixing up some variety of this in our kitchen for 8 to 10 years, and our clients just kind of always ask like, "Oh, what do you think about this green? Or what do you think about this green powder?" And we're like, "Oh, they're okay. It's not what we do." And we even have shared what we do, like our formula. It's not a secret, but most people don't want to go out and buy pounds of this and pounds of that and whip it up. And some people
Right.
do, and that's great. And that is the way to save money. That's how we saved money in ourselves.
Sure.
But we also created this at what we feel is a pretty good price point. It's competitive.
Sure.
I think that we're doing pretty good pricing wise. So anyways,
Yeah.
that was the inspiration. Just filling the gap in what looks like from the outside looking in a pretty saturated market, but there's still, like I was saying, there's some that are simple formulas, but they're still watered down. Like they don't have these super medicinal ingredients, and oftentimes the serving size is like a teaspoon, and it's like, oh, you get
Right.
30 teaspoons in this for like $50. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not a serving size. So serving size here of this is a proper heaping tablespoon, and you get, so
Nice. Well, thank you for coming into the market and providing a product that's that's high quality and a good price, and made by people that clearly are a force for good. So
that's
appreciate
right.
all the
Thank you
work.
for the shout out and opportunity to share.
Oh, my pleasure. But yeah, so my response to your question. So feeling cold, and yeah, being in Minnesota, that can definitely be an issue. So, some of this is a common question, but some of the things that I recommend are super like kind of basic. It's like making sure you're wearing warm clothing, like especially in the winter, just dress appropriately, turn up your heat a little bit if you need to. But, you can also just don't eat things directly out of the fridge. So you can leave things on the counter to let them kind of get to room temperature. If it's like winter time, and you can also use herbs and spices like cayenne or ginger, other peppers, things like that, to help with that. But I'm actually that's not something I feel. I feel like I should have better answers for how to stay warm. But that those are kind of just the things that I do. I just kind of go through it. It's like,
Well, yeah, same here, and I'm glad I'm not missing anything, because
yeah,
we get the same question, and I'm like, yeah, just stay warm.
right, exactly.
Here I am wearing like my fuzzy like flannel here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then there's things you can do like drinking warm tea and things, or yeah, or I don't think that it's necessary for people to stay 100% raw. Obviously you're not 100% raw, but including things that are warming, like with the salad. So my big way of, because when you drink a smoothie, you can get cold, right? Like I get cold sometimes after I drink a smoothie with frozen berries and frozen fruits and things. But you can use warm teas, and if you're not trying to stick with 100% raw, which I don't typically recommend, just because for various reasons, it'll kind of bleed into the second question that you asked. But for people that do feel cold quite a bit, put in some pressure cooked lentils or beans or potatoes into your salad, or have a soup with your lunch salad or whatever you have for lunch. Keep it whole food, plant based, and if it's cooked, then and it helps you stay warm and you feel better that way, then that's what I would recommend. I wouldn't say, try and stay raw even if it makes you feel cold and you don't enjoy that. I'm more, over the years I've really loosened up on the sticking to 100% raw thing, because as I said earlier, it's like most people don't find that easy. They don't always enjoy it. And they limit themselves in what they will eat, so they don't probably get the full range of nutrition that they should be getting. So I just say, you know what, utilize raw food to the extent that you can, and do it that it's going to remain sustainable for you, and then include, whatever soups or stews or potatoes or rice or lentils or anything like that, in with a salad is what I find to be the best thing to do. And that's also what I recommend for people that don't feel satiated, or they don't feel like they've eaten enough throughout the day. You can include some of those more calorie dense whole plant foods to get some of that feeling. And again, eating it with a big salad. That's why my 5-star salad is 1 pound of leafy greens, because it's like, if you're not getting that volume, it's not gonna you're not gonna hit those stretch receptors. You're gonna miss out on a lot of the great nutrition in greens, and that's also another reason why I think products like your green powder is going to be, it's super important for people to get in a lot of the minerals that, if people are super high in fruit in their diet, they might be missing out on some of those minerals. So eating big salads like my 5-star salads, and including products like your powder, can help kind of fill in those gaps. And so yeah, that I would just say eat. So in my book, 21 day raw transformation program, I go through my daily meal design, which is SFS, smoothie fruit salad. And so like for me, this works for like every day. I this is what I do. And so it's like a big smoothie, and I put in probably more fruit than most people want to. And I got a glucometer. I checked my blood glucose levels. Everything is perfect. And I got my blood test recently. My A1C was 5.1. So I'm not like spiking and dipping my blood sugar out of control. So I have a massive fruit and green smoothie. And then, most people I see have like a glass of smoothie. I recommend having a Vitamix carafe full of smoothie. That's how you really feel. You got to get in enough, right? Because you're eating plant foods. They're not as condensed in calories. Get in enough. And so I have a massive smoothie that keeps me satisfied for, a couple hours at least, 3-4 hours a lot of time. And then I'll have a big plate of fruit, usually for lunch, or, it's flexible as well. Like, whatever, if the fruit isn't great, I might even, and this is a very recent change, but I've even recently started having some oatmeal. It's like just rolled oats with boiling water on top, and I put some berries on there, and raisins and things. And I've experimented with that, and that works pretty well too. So if there's, sometimes the fruit just isn't very good, so I'll have that for lunch. And then for dinner, it's almost always this massive salad, pound of greens or more, 5 colors, plant-based, seed-based dressing. And so I make sure that my portion size are large enough that it's going to make me feel satisfied. And then I include, if I need to, the potatoes or lentils or beans in the salad to help give it a little more heaviness. So, I mean, that's kind of just the basic way that I help people in that sense. But, there's other little adjustments you can make, but that's in general what I would say.
Awesome. Yeah, again, it's good to just hear that affirmation from you. Like, we're obviously on the same wavelength with with all that. And yeah, I think I know psychologically for me, I think I've shared my story a little bit with you, but I was like mostly raw vegan like 12 years ago, and I did really great for a year, but I just didn't really grasp psychologically like what it should look like
Yeah.
to eat enough. And if you're not eating enough of anything, you're going to slowly deplete. And then once you deplete, then again, my mind went in the direction of what I must be missing something, whether
Yep.
it's cooked food or whether it's animal product or whatever. But the fact of the matter, what I was missing was just the volume, the calories, the fuel, the everything. People say, "Oh, you need more protein. Oh, you need more of this." Yeah, yes, and just everything.
Yeah.
So, anywho, yeah,
Yeah.
good to hear your affirmation of that.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for the questions.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to cover?
No, yeah. Well, when you brought up like the blood sugar stuff,
Yeah.
and that's of course like a huge fear that I'm sure you hear and face, and maybe even like, to be honest, like sometimes even though I know the science and like the biochemistry of insulin sensitivity and signaling and blood sugar balancing, I still go through like I got my blood work done a few months ago, and I was like, I hope my A1C is good because I've been going hard on the fruit.
Yeah.
And like, of course, I know it's going to be good because I know what actually causes blood sugar issues and insulin resistance.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And I have been going hard on the fruit. I know you do.
Yep.
And it's just really important to remember. And I know all your listeners and so well, there is absolutely no upper limit of what we can consume. Because when we're eating real food from nature, our body, like you'll get a stomach ache before you like kill yourself.
Right.
Or before you'll what am I trying to say? Before you like go in the process of disease, creation.
Yeah.
Like the side effects from eating too much fruit are just like bloating
Large
and maybe
poops.
a big bowel movement,
Yeah.
like it's not like gonna, send you to the hospital or even, put you on metformin or anything like that.
Right.
So
Yeah. No,
just a good reminder there.
yeah. It'd probably send you out hiking or, on a run or
What do I do
something.
with all this energy?
Yeah, exactly.
Go.
I feel so good. Yeah. So I know. And in the research I've been doing for the book that I'm writing, I've been looking at some of the studies that they've done on fruit consumption, and one of the studies, they had people eat up to 20 servings of fruit, or they had them eat 20 servings of fruit a day for 3 to 6 months, and there was no negative effects on insulin or glucose levels or any metabolic issues. So yeah,
Yeah. Was that oh, that's awesome. I don't know if I've heard of that, but did you know if that was a more recent study?
no, it was in 1971. So it is a pretty far back one.
Yeah, I think I've come across that one as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because that is an issue with what we're doing is there's not a lot of studies. So you have
Right.
to kind of revert to common sense and what feels right and good,
Yep.
which is hard for people these days. We are trained to like think that scientific research is above common sense and intuition.
Right.
And I know that obviously your brand is like reconnecting with just common sense and intuition.
Yeah.
And that's so important. I think increasingly so as we move into this technological whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The religion of science continues every year to seem to get a little more out of control. So I agree. Like, and I think eating more fruits and vegetables, of course, but getting in just whole natural foods helps us to connect with that intuition and start to kind of clear some of that fog, that illusion of authority and needing some sort of government agency or a scientist to tell us exactly what we should do. I think the simpler you get with your lifestyle and in general your diet, the freer your mind becomes. And so, yeah, I think that's a good way to start tapping into that intuition and finding the right way for you. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah, so good. Well, thanks for having me on. I don't want to take up too much time of
Yeah.
yours, but appreciate your show. I'm glad I found you. I know you do this every Sunday, but usually I'm
Yeah.
not sitting here
Right.
in the middle of the day every Sunday. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I am today, and I'm glad we're able to connect.
Yeah, an honor to have you on, and jump on anytime. Anytime we're doing
All
this,
right.
it'd be a pleasure to have you.
Right on. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, everyone.
All
And
right.
take care, man.
Thanks, Dr. Ben.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. Wow, we had our first 2 successful guests jumping on here. That was awesome. Loved having both Brittany and Dr. Ben here. So anybody else that wants to jump in, you're more than welcome. What time is it now? 12:30. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end here. Let me see. I think I probably missed quite a few questions in here, so I can try and get to some of them. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but yeah, just a little recap. So if you're interested in checking out Dr. Ben and his wife, Dr. Susanna's new green powder, Green Force, go over to oh shoot, is it I think it's Viz Foods. Let me try and pull it up here. It's either VISFOOD.co. Viz Foods with an S. VISFOODS.co. That will get you to their new product, their new green powder. Definitely check that out. I'm going to. And then also, I have some new merchandise available if you guys are interested in picking up a Raw Intuition. So there's varying forms. There's just the Raw Intuition logo on sweatshirts and sweaters and hats. And the link to that is in the description box of this video. So you can get either just the Raw Intuition logo, you can get the Raw Intuition Health Show logo, and there's even a Raw Intuition Game Show logo that you can pick up if you're interested. Again, just another way to support the channel and help us keep doing what we're doing here at Raw Intuition. So yeah, those are kind of some of the big things going on. And let's see here. Okay, got a notification there. Yeah, and of course, let's get back to the questions going into the chat here. Make sure there's nobody in the waiting room. Nope. All right. Janet says, or Jan, got Jan in parentheses, how would I grow a stevia plant? Ooh, that is outside of my wheelhouse. I'm not much of a gardener. I have had a garden, and I do love gardening, but I haven't had an opportunity now where I live to do that. So I don't exactly know. That would be a good question probably for John Kohler. He might have good advice on that. Or, you can always YouTube it. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are experts in growing different plants, including stevia, to help you out with that. I think there was another question about stevia. What's up, Carl? Good to see you here as well. JJ, you too. Thank you for being here. Extropian Transhuman said, thanks for the link. Let's see. Extropian Transhuman said, if you eat coconut, your body will feel on fire. Oh, coconut. All right, there you go. Sherry says, so cool to see Dr. Ben. I agree. That was a treat. I'm so honored and glad that he was able to jump on and have a little conversation. That was fun. A lot of good info here in this chat here. Thanks, guys, for throwing ideas back and forth and information. Extropian Transhuman said, how does AMLA compare to Camu Camu for vitamin C? Ooh, I wish I would have seen that when Dr. Ben was still on. I don't actually know. I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure. Annie says, I love broccoli microgreens. She grows a ton of those. Oh, that's awesome, Annie. Annie, if you ever want to be on the show, just let me know. Vegan JJ loves moringa. All right. Naomi says, add ginger to your drink or smoothie. Yeah, ginger is a good way to kind of get things going, stimulate the circulation. Yeah, that's always been, when people ask how to stay warm, you know, things that I do, I just wear more clothing, turn up the heat maybe. Exercise, I didn't mention that. You can exercise. I think exercising throughout the day. Like sometimes I get into like a kind of a rut of where I'll only exercise like pretty much first thing in the morning. But what I really like to do, and when I feel my best, and I feel like when I look my best, I am exercising multiple times throughout the day, and it's just little, like I'll do 25 push-ups, you know, right now, and then in like 30 minutes I'll do, or, you know, 20 minutes or whatever, I'll do another 25, and I'll do that like randomly throughout the day. Like I've got like 5 or 6 little sessions of quick little workout type things. Like I'll go do some pull-ups, or I'll do push-ups, or I'll, you know, run up and down the stairs or something like that, or I'll go outside and go for a walk. But you know, that's what I have actually found to be the most enjoyable, is to get exercise throughout the day, like spread out, versus just doing everything. For me, first thing in the morning is when I typically would always do my exercise. And yeah, so just another way to stay warm is to exercise and just stay active, because that's really how you get your blood flowing. You know, maybe work up a sweat, something like that. I should have mentioned that, but again, still pretty basic. I don't think there's any magical ways to stay warm if you're, you know, not eating a lot of cooked food, and if you don't live in a like a tropical climate. You know, wintertime here in Minnesota, it's below 0 quite often. So, you know, drinking a smoothie, I still do it, but, you know, I make sure to wear a sweatshirt when I do so. Okay, let's see. Anything else? And if you guys have any tips too, you know, throw in your tips to the chat box here, and we can all learn from each other. All right, I think I'm getting close. Oh, Dr. Ben put in the chat. Oh, did I miss one? Camu Camu has more vitamin C. And he said, but AMLA is close and contains more bioflavonoids that make vitamin C a little more bioavailable. There you go. Amazing. Thank you, Dr. Ben. He also said Camu Camu is also pretty intense, has a pretty intense tart flavor. Very nice. Extropian Transhuman says, did you know about the Texas Fruit Festival? John Kohler just posted a video on it. I did know about it. I was actually invited, but I wasn't able to go. I wish I would have been able to go. That would have been amazing. I saw some really amazing people that were there. Hopefully I can go next time they have it. I'm guessing next year. But next year I will, as you guys might know, I'm going to be a speaker at the vegan wellness retreat, I think is what it's called. I got to get a link. I got to get a link in my bio here, but I will be a speaker at pretty sure it's called the Vegan Wellness Retreat in Northern Michigan next August. I think it was August 10th through the 14th. And I do have a code. It's Matt, MATT, $100, and you can get $100 off your ticket. And and I would love to see you guys there. It'll be my first. So I've done other in-person, like I teach classes in person throughout Minnesota, at different co-ops and health food stores about raw foods and things. But and I did do a live presentation about my books at a what's called the Reducitarian Summit or Reducitarian Conference last year. When I did it, it was in Denver, Colorado, and this year I think it was in like Texas or something. But yeah, that was the conference last year in Denver. Was my only like in-person, like large audience presentation. So now going to the Fruit Fest or the vegan wellness retreat in Michigan next year will kind of be like my first real like raw food presentation type thing. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you guys will, as many of you as possible that can make it. That'd be cool to meet you guys. Yeah. Where were we? What was I? Oh yeah, John Kohler posted a video. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen John's video, but I'm sure it's a good one. And it sounds like, and it looks like they had a great turnout and a great time at that Texas Fruit Festival. Let's see here. The Wim Hof. Naomi says the Wim Hof breathing technique is also helping to be warm. Yeah, breathing exercises. That's another thing you can do. Definitely. Thank you. Mark says taking a hot bath works. Yeah, great suggestion. See, a lot of these things I didn't even think about. Take a hot bath, do some breathing exercises. You know, that is a great suggestion. Let's see here. Extropian Transhuman threw in a lot of tips, she said. I missed them. They're further back up in the chat. Everybody go check that out. Let's see here. I think I'm at the end here. Okay. Yep. Extropian Transhuman says she just stays online, but know people who like to go in person. Yeah. And I can't remember if, I don't think there's a virtual option for the retreat next year. But yeah, there's plenty of online virtual retreats out there these days that allow everybody to connect without actually having to travel or, go stay somewhere in person for an extended amount of time. So it's awesome that we have these platforms that allow us to do that. Let's see. Naomi says, do you know how many raw food restaurants we have in Holland? Ooh. Oh, she said one. Really, I cannot find more. Hey, there's 0 in Minnesota. So, actually, I'm sure there's one in Iowa. But I used to go to one in Iowa. They closed, unfortunately. And I used to go to one in Minneapolis, and they closed as well. So it's really unfortunate because both of them I loved, but the one in Minneapolis I would always go to when I would teach classes in the Minneapolis area, and I would always go there. I would get their raw pizza and their nachos and their, what else did I get? They had a burrito, but the pizza was the best. That was like my go-to thing when I would go there. So yeah. John Kohler is in the chat. What's up, John? Hey, hope you're doing well. Yes, thank you so much for being here, John. Appreciate you. Somebody just mentioned you posted a video from the Texas Fruit Festival. So I wish I would have been there. Wish I would have got to meet you in person. But hope you guys had a great time. John is drinking his green juice. Very nice. I love it. Extropian Transhuman says, she just watched John's video. John says, the fruit festival was amazing. I bet it was. I can't even imagine the great vibes and food that you guys enjoyed there. I wish I could have been there. And John, if you're interested, John, you can always call in if you want to share any of your highlights from the festival or anything else. Here is the chat, the video link. I can bring you on the show if you're interested. No pressure, but just saying. Janet says CID again. I'm not sure what CID. What happened? My chat just like jumped. So where did that? Janet, I saw you. I'm not sure if you had a question or code again, please, for the retreat. Oh, the code, yes. So the code for the vegan wellness retreat next year, next August in northern Michigan, is my code is Matt, MATT, $100, and you'll get $100 off your ticket. And again, it's next August, 10th through the 14th. Let me pull up the website as well. And I will put that in the chat here if you guys want to check it out. All right, this is what is in John Kohler's green juice. This, I bet it's the best tasting green juice in the country. It contains celery, romaine, green cabbage, homegrown kale, homegrown moringa, and lemon. Wow. Yeah, see, John's got the moringa trees. He's got that big garden to fill up his juicer with. I think he uses the Nama J2 now, which is the next juicer that I will purchase at some point. Looks amazing. Super low maintenance and super convenient. So Naomi says, yes, I know. Nice, right? Nice that you know about the history. I think that's for somebody else. All right. Mallory, what's up? Northern Michigan is magical in the summer, guys. Kid Rock even wrote a song about it. I've heard that song, Mallory. Yeah. I cannot wait to check out Michigan. I've seen so many great things. I've never been there, and it sounds like a great place. I had no idea that someplace so close to Minnesota was so cool. So, Minnesota's great. But Michigan looks, in terms even just the fruit that grows there, I've said this before, I can't believe like the wider range of fruits that are available in Michigan versus Minnesota. Like you guys got the stone fruits, you got cherries and peaches and pawpaws and all these things. In Minnesota, we've got apples and pears and watermelon and cantaloupe. So, I'm grateful to have those things, but if we could have a little more wide variety of fruits, that would be awesome. Because our farmer's market, they don't really have any fruits other than sometimes there's Concord grapes in the fall, which is awesome. John says pawpaws should grow in Minnesota. Just got to plant the trees. Okay. Well, I'm gonna look into that, because if I could have some pawpaws, which I've never had, but I've heard really good things, I would love to. So that's good to know. And John says actually used the Hiram H70 to make this juice. Easier to clean than the J2 and works about the same. Oh, very cool. I did not know that. And of course, I'm sure everybody in my audience knows this, but if you are interested in getting either the Nama J2 or any other juicer or appliance, blend, vacuum blender, anything like that, check out John's website. I'll put it in the chat here. It is discountjuicers.com. And you guys can support John, who has done so much for this community. And yeah, there you go. Discountjuicers.com. He's got a lot of great stuff out in there for you to make your raw fruit and vegetable consumption optimized. All right, makes it easier, makes it more convenient, makes it more possible to sustain a healthy lifestyle when you got the right tools. That's what I always talk about. You gotta have the right tools. You gotta, know where to get the good stuff, and John's got a good site for that. All right. Mallory says she just planted some pawpaws. That is incredible. Wow. Well, you'll have to keep us posted, Mallory. John, how long do the pawpaws take? How long does it take to have a fruit producing tree? A couple of years, maybe? But yeah, Mallory, definitely keep us posted. That would be, send us pictures or, join the show. You can join the show and teach us how to grow your own pawpaw tree. That would be cool. That would be a great show. Mallory says, maybe because we're a huge peninsula, we can grow more fruit. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that is possible. John says it takes 4+ years to make fruit on the pawpaw tree, depending. So, Mallory, you've got a little bit of a wait, but I'm sure it's going to be worth every second of waiting. Let's see. She said she just used the trees from the pawpaws that she got at her farmer's market. Yeah, that's another reason to support your local farmers and farmers markets where you can get real fruit. No GMO things that have a patent on them that you can't regrow. Janet says, I live in Lansing, Michigan. Whoa, Janet, cool. Well, hey, if you're going to join the retreat next August, that would be really cool. It'd be awesome to meet you. Mallory says, come to the retreat. Exactly. Come to the retreat. John, are you going to be at the vegan wellness retreat next August? If not, you should definitely contact the hosts and be a part. I'm not sure if they're still bringing in new people. I don't think I saw you were on there, but oh, well, yes, you should definitely look into it. I would love to meet you in person, John. So if you can find a way to be a part of it, I would love that. Let's see. Farmers. So Mallory said, good to know. The farmer's market said to baby them inside my house for a couple years and then plant when the tree is dormant. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm taking notes here, Mallory. Definitely. I plan one day I'll plant my own pawpaw tree and I'll plant it in your dedication for the inspiration and John's. I'll find a way to combine your names into one. And I'll call that tree the Jallery, something like that. All right. Well, are there any other questions? What time is it? It's almost 1 o'clock here in Minnesota, so we might have to call it a show. This was a great show. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. We had some great guests. Thank you, Brittany, and thank you, Dr. Ben. Thank you, John, for popping in. Thank you, everybody else. Janet, Mallory, Sherry, Carl, JJ, Annie, everybody. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. I'm sure I did. Mark, Naomi. See, I can't list everybody, but just know, if you were here, I appreciate you. And I love seeing you guys every single Sunday. And I hope you guys will join us next week. I think, we need to get John on this show. John, if you're interested, I'll send you an email. But I do the show every Sunday, 11 o'clock or noon Central Time or noon Eastern Time. So if you have an hour some Sunday afternoon, I would love to, or for you it'd be morning. But traveling next, yeah, it's okay. Sometime in the near, or in an upcoming Sunday, that would be awesome. Perfect. Okay, guys. Well, thanks again, everybody. Love to you all. And if you have any questions that I didn't get to, just email me at matt@myrawintuition.com. And it would be incredible to see you next week as well. We're going to I do have a guest lined up. I can't remember exactly who it is at this point, but I'll keep you all posted throughout the week. And I hope to see you then. Thanks again for being here, and always follow your raw intuition.